With the first game and Chain of Memories' success, fans were ready for the next game in the series, but once it released, many were happy as it improved on a lot of aspects from the first game. How do I feel about it? Well, let's dive into it. Kingdom Hearts 1 was a massive hit. Both fans and critics loved it. Initially, there was worry regarding how a crossover would work, but it turned out to be great. Seeing Sora explore worlds and fight against the darkness was nice to see. It provided many memorable moments that still stick with people to this day. After this, fans were expecting KH2 to be the next one in the series, but were surprised when Chain of Memories was announced. The only issue here, though, is the fact that it was at the time not on the same system. Chain of Memories ended up being a GBA game, which is something that started a trend, putting the games on handhelds. But we will get to that part later. At this time, there was a lot of speculation as to what KH2 would be like, even getting a tiny preview at the end of KH1, this being a secret movie which would only be viewable if you met certain conditions in the game. The trailer had intrigue, as it looked to be in a world filled with tall buildings. Plus, you see someone dual-wielding keyblades, and another person on top of one of the buildings. Behind the scenes, that was actually a concept as to what a future game could be. During the development of the game, the director Tetsuya Nomura noted that more obstacles were in the way before the game could even start developing. The main thing being Disney's approval. The game entered full development in 2003 and was announced at that year's Tokyo Game Show, although announced too early, as the game did not get a concrete release date for almost 2 years, and they had attention divided on Chain of Memories, since that game needed to release first. Also at the time, work was being done on the compilation of Final Fantasy VII, most notably the movie Advent Children. Details during these 2 years were gradually released along with trailers. The more information, the more intrigue. One of the big things was at E3 2004, where producer Shinji Hashimoto stated that many mysteries of the first game would be answered. Some other stuff people were wondering about was the gameplay. The first game had some interesting stuff, but was also a struggle. Here, the dev team made a goal to rework aspects of it. Some of it was mainly due to feedback, but also finally getting the opportunity to do it, not worrying about time or tech constraints. KH1 was in the first half of the PS2 lifecycle, whereas KH2 would be in the second half. So with time on the hardware and seeing how other projects were handled on the console, the more experience the better. Plus, this ended up leading to some new worlds that some didn't expect to see, mainly the live action ones like Pirates of the Caribbean. With Chain of Memories being the bridge game, and development getting close to wrapping up, fans knew that it was almost that long awaited day. This would arrive in Japan on December 22nd, 2005, and in the West throughout 2006. Of course, with many games at the time, the game was to get an enhanced edition, this being Final Mix. For a long time, it was exclusive only in Japan, but in 2014 it did arrive in the West in the 2.5 collection. This is very much like the first game's Final Mix, where it has new content like bosses, new abilities, and more. That is the behind the scenes of the game. So let's get into the game itself. Note that this will be the PS4 Final Mix version of the game. The game is an action role-playing game set in its own universe. If one wants to play and keep up with the story, I highly recommend playing KH1 and Chain of Memories beforehand, otherwise certain information won't make sense. The story of the game starts out with you playing as Roxas. He is in the place known as Twilight Town, where you also see his group of friends. This segment with Roxas is the prologue of the game. It might seem like a long prologue, but it is well worth it. After the prologue is done, you switch over to Sora. After sleeping for a full year, he, Donald, and Goofy go back out to find Riku. Along the way, we meet up with the Ensign at the tower, where he informs the group about what has happened. The Heartless are still around, and we have a new group of enemies, those and nobodies. Plus, just like in Chain of Memories, we have to deal with the organization's plan, plus saving the world from true darkness, again, and trying to find his friends, again. And even the bad guy is a silver-haired guy? I am sensing a pattern here. I mean, KH1, the scale was lower. It was saving the princess's hearts. Here we already have so much happening. The Roxas stuff, the nobodies, the organization, etc. They expand the universe, and it's nice to see. Oh, and yes, it has its good memes, but also has the feels in several moments. It even has those secret reports, so it's good to check those. The story is great stuff and is widely considered to be one of the favorites of the series. Plus, just like the first game, they got a lot of notable VAs here. Ones that stood out to me are the Disney ones coming back, and of course the Advent Children ones, all providing memorable moments. Let's get into the gameplay. The game is semi-open world where you get a selection of Disney worlds to go to. As you progress, you unlock more. We have ones from before like Olympus, Atlantica, etc., but also new ones like Tron and Pirates of the Caribbean. They are straightforward in that it's point to point, with fighting some enemies, escorting allies, and other stuff. You solve whatever issue is going on in the world and then you move on to the next one. Each one provides something new and helps vary the gameplay, but the flow stays the same along with fighting the boss at the end. The big change, however, is that this time the worlds are more streamlined, so the exploring is not as much this time, and you don't have to worry about getting lost because the game will consistently tell you and give hints on where to go next. I mean, we have full-on maps now. All you have to do is find the map in the chest and there you go. And if you are really stuck, the NPCs in the world will also help out in that regard. The worlds themselves are still connected to each other with the rooms and whatnot, even tells you where the next area is. You can leave a world at any time when you are at a save point. Plus, you could check the objective list. Not every world is mandatory like in KH1, but if you want to get certain rewards and stuff, you may end up having to do that. Something that was improved on from the first game was the gummy ship. Whenever you are moving around between worlds, you will notice gates that you have to get past. This takes the gummy ship into an on-rail segment where you take down enemies. Because it's more on rails this time, it's not as much of a drag. It's still not my favorite, but I do like it more here. And as the game goes on, you see the sheer size of the fleets, which is a nice touch. The combat of the game is where we have a lot to talk about. You still have your normal attacks, but the flow is smoother this time. The skills you have based on stats and abilities. You get more as you defeat enemies. With abilities themselves, you can equip them with AP and you can see the descriptions of them. One thing I do like is that they separated them to make it easier to tell which one does what. You can equip whichever ones you want anytime. A main thing in combat are the reaction commands. You also have magic. It can be offensive, defensive, or healing. But the big one in this game is reflect. Yeah, we don't have arrow, but reflect is pretty awesome. Lets you take in an attack, then gives the damage back to the enemy. If used right, you can do some big damage. The thing with magic though is I would try out the spells and see what works with your playstyle, especially since some of them here are a little different compared to before. As you progress in the game, you'll get higher magic spells, so the effect will be better. Only thing to watch for is that cure takes up all of your MP, so once it's used you have to wait for it to come back before you can use magic again. Something to mention is that in Cage 2, in order to take out bosses, you either have to deal a final hit of a combo or use a magic spell on them to actually beat them. Important to know just in case. We also have the items where you can equip them and use them in combat. Basic stuff here, but it's nice to have it. Something new is that you can switch to a different menu. These show more options like party members and limits. You could swap out party members on the go instead of going to the menu. We also have the limits, which are strong attacks. These are pretty good as you don't take any damage while you are using them. Each one is different and some are better than others. Only thing to keep watch for is your MP. Using it from the command menu is ideal since you can pick whichever one you want. As mentioned before, we have the party members back. Donald and Goofy provide more support, and the moves they do are pretty good. Though with how the combat is in the game, you might take out enemies before they even do any hits. Still good to have their support, however. And they do help out quite a bit. We also have the summons where when you get the charm, you can use the summon. In this game, the summons are great. While it is possible to go through the game without using them, it might help in certain situations, so it's good to have them here again. The main note is that they use up the drive gauge, which is something new. As you go through the game, you'll increase the drive gauge, which means you can use it longer. Summons being one of the things used with this. As you go through the game, you will increase the drive gauge, which means you can use it longer. Something else you use are the drive forms. Drive forms are special forms that transform Sora. These let you attack enemies faster and stronger, along with more flashy movesets and outfit change. Also being able to dual wield keyblades, which to me is legit one of the coolest things. This being for a limited time with the drive gauge. You get more drive forms as you go through the game, and each one has its own conditions in order to use them. One might require Goofy on the field, one might require both Donald and Goofy on the field, or one could activate with just Sora. A major thing to remember is that you get a full heal from it. They do have modified attacks as well, so taking out enemies won't be as tough. At a certain point in the game, you do get the final mix exclusive form, this being Limit Form. Limit Form is amazing because you can use it anytime without needing any conditions. Well, as long as you have the drive gauge filled up, that is. Limit Form helps out because in some fights where you are by yourself, the special attacks give you some health, so you can do damage while healing. And yes, I didn't forget to mention it, but Sonic Rave is very good. But drive forms in general are great for experimenting. My favorite discovery was seeing how magic gets improved. It is amazing being able to sweep through enemies with it. They also have abilities, like high jump, glide, etc. The reason for bringing this up is that you have to level up the form in order to use it normally. The issue here is leveling them up. They require certain conditions and that varies as well. So a lot of it boils down to grinding. Not a ton of grinding, so at least there's that. And considering the rewards you get, like the abilities and being in the forms longer, it is well worth it in the long run. One thing that can help out is, if you are near a save point while in a drive form, if you leave the world and come back, the gauge will be filled, which is very helpful. Something you get along the way is new equipment. Each Keyblade has an ability attached to it, so it's important to see which one has what. Plus having armor and accessories is good. Synthesis is also here to make new items and equipment. Yes, it makes a return from the first game, and when you get the items required, you can make new stuff. When it comes to the side content in the game, we have the optional worlds, but we also have the torn pages, items you collect to advance through the 100-acre wood world, where you have a lot of mini games that get to hang out with the group, along with getting some stuff. We also have the Coliseum battles just like the first game, where you enter various tournaments and do fights. These are fun and also give rewards. Plus, just like before, we have the optional super bosses. I'm going to leave it to you to find out who they are, but these fights are a lot of fun, even if they can be difficult at times. Something else you could do are the Mushroom 13. Along with Organization 13, we also have 13 mushrooms. They all have a minigame to complete, and you get items for doing so. Along the way, you might also encounter some portal things that have an emblem on it. These are known as absent silhouettes. These fights are fun. The best addition by far is the Cavern of Remembrance, and the data battles. The Cavern is a dungeon that tests your skills, literally as if you don't have your drive forms leveled up. You won't be able to do the gimmick jumps, but even when you get through the jumps, the enemies here are no joke at all. Patience is key as it will help getting through the area. Once you are at the end, you enter a room with a bunch of portals. These are the data fights. Organization organization members you have fought, but a lot tougher. These fights are some of the best in the game, and maybe even the entire franchise. The fun and hype I get from these, it's peak every time, and they recreate the scenario when you fight them in the main story, like the backgrounds and stuff. Again, all of this is optional, but it's a lot of fun. The Cavern music sets the tone right away as the first thing you hear. This is a great segue into talking about the music. Once again, the music in the game is just great stuff. The production they put into it is very good. The combination of original music, Disney, and Final Fantasy worked out great. Yoko Shimomura, who did wonders with the first game, did great stuff again. Cavern of Remembrance is my favorite track in the entire franchise. Even the subtle tracks are so good. All the organization ones stand out to me as well. And of course, we have Utada, who is back with a new song, this time being Sanctuary. Another great song. I love it. Simple and Clean is good stuff, and Sanctuary is also good. I can't really compare them because they fit each other's games great. The music overall is amazing stuff. What else do I need to say about KH2? It ties in the action and RPG elements really well. The story is great, expanding the universe and giving more lore. Seeing the organization this time was really fun, getting to know each of their personalities. It also has some of the best set pieces. And considering this was originally on PS2, they got so much out of the hardware. It's not perfect, but man, it is something special. It was huge to the point where the franchise had even more titles after. At the 2007 Tokyo Game Show, it was announced that there would be 3 more games. Kingdom Hearts Coded, which will later become Recoded, Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days, and Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. Days being a favorite of mine as it was a prequel to 2, focusing on the organization while having Roxas as the main character, along with Shion and Axel. While the collections only have Days and Recoded as movies, I wanted to at least mention Days because Days actually has my favorite story. It's a story that connected with me a lot, and with it being an organization focus makes it all the better, since you get more time with them. But again, it is a prequel to 2, and it's better to experience it after playing 2. When it comes to Kingdom Hearts 2 and its legacy, it's safe to say it was a hit. To this day, after many years, people still love it, and going back to it has been great. Funny thing for me, this was the only Kingdom Hearts game I bought on PS2. This was back in 2010 as well. I only remember playing the prologue at that time, but when the collection came out, I had a feeling that I needed to try it again, and when I got to play 2, I was very happy. It's a brilliant sequel that I am thankful I got to experience. Just wanted to say thank you all for watching the video. If you like this video and want to see more, check out the other videos on the channel. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video.